just come off of, and we're right basically on the bottom of this line here at 69 solar flux units. So solar minimum conditions continue, but not as minimum as they've been.
Oh, hi.
Not as low levels.
You've caught me watching my own space weather videos. That's because I'm not only smAsho, but I'm also a client. I guess that makes it time for the That is Censored. And that is a Sinkhole. The Censored versus Sinkhole portion where we come up with stories that will amaze and astound and surprise and make you lose faith in humanity. We talk about all kinds of stuff, such as whatever we want, and if we feel like getting political, well, we're going to get political. We won't get very political very often. Most of these are essentially science stories, or wannabe science stories. Let's move on. Were you aware of the alternative to Google, known as DuckDuckGo? Well, were you? Give yourself a one-up by using the search engine that doesn't store your personal information, ever, since it doesn't need to in order to return good search results, objective ones. It doesn't follow you around with ads. It doesn't even track you when you're not in private browsing mode. How do you like that? It's not junkware. It's not bloatware. It's a real search engine, DuckDuckGo.com. Let's start talking about some stories. But first, let's start talking about where you can find us on social media. How about Facebook? Facebook.com/smAshomash. What about on Instagram? You won't see our Rosa Sharon photos if you don't follow us on Instagram. We don't put them everywhere. Check out this double. It's a double. Instagram.com/smAshomash. Did you know that we're an electromagnetic field emitter? Well, if you weren't aware, you may find out by going there. All right. Also on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And thanks to our new subscribers. We're also on Gab. Check it out. There's the thumbnail from this morning's video. Please watch it if you don't know the most recent updates about Hurricane Dorian, for instance. Also on Minds, Minds.com, the open source social media. Check out yesterday's thumbnail. Is that hot or what? And thanks most of all, patrons, as we are starting to get a real production going here. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for being part of the Smash team. All right, let's move on to some other stuff here, Smash team.
Disaster.
Now, speaking of disasters, Bernie Sanders is a huge disaster. And yesterday we talked about Bernie's overreach, where Bernie stated that he won't wait for Congress to act. He'll take executive action to create an open borders situation in the U.S. And, the agenda here is to purchase votes by just allowing everybody to butt in line to the immigration system. And as the great-grandson of an immigrant, I must say, I prefer legal immigration, and I'm not a huge fan of the illegal kind. Now, let's go to my favorite quote ever from Bernie. At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or of 18 different pairs of sneakers while children are hungry in this country. Now, I don't spread propaganda about Bernie because Bernie is dumb enough to spread propaganda about himself. He is extremely unwise and extremely uninformed about things economic in nature, especially. So, I mean, yeah, here's a quote. There's a quote from Bernie. It's a real quote. The last meme was a quote, too. Feel free to take a screenshot. But when it comes to underarm spray deodorant, economics, the role of government, socialism, sneakers, and nearly everything else Bernie talks about as a solution, we need more than deodorant because Bernie's ideas stink. Let's talk about the depths of human stupidity while we're on this subject and look at the trending subjects on Google. Now, a little while ago, it was actually the RZA and Wu-Tang. Shout out RZA and the Wu-Tang. some of the best hip-hop ever made, and one of the biggest and most important and influential record producers in the history of mankind, the RZA. Shout out to the RZA. Anyway, now we've got new trends here. We've got e-cigarette, Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, Roger Federer, U.S. Open. All kinds of super important stuff, man. People are searching for Walmart and handgun. People are oh, what's going on? Oh, the body issue on ESPN. Tropical cyclone at Daytona Beach. All right. All right. Let's move on here and stop looking at Google trending. Let's talk about the fact that, let's talk about the Grand Solar Minimum channel, hosted by Jake and Mari. We're pretty sure that Mari is Plankton's computer on SpongeBob. Let's play a clip.
Point one. Let's give you a little shot of our sun here right now. Here we go.
All right, there's a clip of Mari talking on yesterday's solar update with sunspot and hurricane Dorian morning update GSM news. Now, let's play a clip from Plankton's computer.
Now to shape this into His Highness's dinner request.
Now, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure.
Plastic?
Well, I had to cut costs somewhere.
Who are you calling cheap? At least I don't, Ross.
I'm not sure. I think Mari might be Karen 2.0.
You know. I know. I'm not as good as Jake. Let me zoom out.
Please leave a comment if you think Mari from Grand Solar Minimum GSM News is also Karen 2.0 on SpongeBob SquarePants. Let's get on to more stories here, such as a rushed fall harvest, which could cause farmer injuries and deaths. Yeah, we're calling for a second early winter here, as summer is just going to suddenly give way, and there's going to be all kinds of frost over the north central U.S., and dudes are going to be scrambling to get their harvesting done, and they're going to be sleep deprived and under pressure and working long hours and having second jobs and sleeping 2 hours in a week and so on, as they'll be losing money on their crops for the second consecutive year. I don't know if you were aware of all the crop failures and stuff, as the U.S. lost 40% of its grain, its seed grains, that is, before the planting even started, and then a large percentage of U.S. planting never happened, and yada, yada, yada. It's pretty bad news, and to make it worse, there's an increase in farmer suicides, as well as abandoning farms and all kinds of bad stuff. Also, corn prices dive. Okay, I guess people have their heads in the sand about corn, as we're talking about an increase in yields here, but that's yields per acre. What about all the acres that weren't planted? Also, China has ceased agricultural imports. That's all U.S. agricultural products. Australia has become a net importer of grains. That's where China gets most of their grains from. Now China's trying to buy soybeans from Brazil. The U.S. is reflagging ships of soybeans to be shipped straight from the U.S. to Brazil to China, and so on and so forth. We've got links to this article in the description below the video, as we appreciate when our viewers understand the distinction between their donkey and a sinkhole. Walmart halts ammunition sales for assault-style rifles, and Kroger calls for gun safety. Now, this is like a reverse clickbait title here. Apparently, Walmart will stop selling ammo for handguns, as well as some assault-style rifles, whatever that is. As that doesn't make any sense, as if it's something like a 5.56 millimeter, or otherwise known as a 223 round. There are bolt-action rifles that fire 223s and 5.56s and 308s and all kinds of guns that have used the same cartridge as, quote, assault rifle style rounds. which, by the way, for an assault rifle, you got to have selective fire, including a 3-round burst or a fully automatic mode for it to really be an assault rifle. I don't know if you're aware. I don't know if you're aware that hammers kill more people per year than rifles do in the U.S. Let's don't talk about this anymore and just move on. Walmart and Kroger. Kroger is asking for people to stop open carrying in their stores, by the way. Let's talk about U.S. spending. How about the debt clock? Let's let that run for a minute. It only says 22,534,851,700,000, which is now 800,000. Yeah, the U.S. government needs to start doing less stuff. We like tax cuts. We don't like increases in spending. And let's just let that play. Actually, I'm going to... have you ever felt like you're being driven to drink? I'm just kidding. I would never feel as if I'm being driven to drink. What's this? The U.S. government is applying peer pressure to you right now to chug alcoholic beverages? Don't do it, folks. Don't do it. Let's talk about Zero Hedge. Hey, everybody. Make sure you bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Hey, everybody. Start looking for alternatives to doing business with China, as if there are alternatives to doing business with China. The best thing would be to have the government out of economics entirely. Let's talk about this satirical article by Dmitry Orlov at the Club Orlov blog. Resurrecting the American economy, comrade, with Stalinism 2.0. Oh, it's a hilarious article. Just read it. It's another one of these satirical articles talking about how to sketch out the Chinese and Soviet communist systems to really fix up the U.S., as that is a lot of the ideas going on with U.S. politicians. Let's just move on. I don't even know what other comments I have about that, except that it's true. Let's talk about something totally beyond my pay grade, as that's what I try to do most days, is talk about stuff beyond my pay grade so I can figure out the stuff and not sound like an uninformed retard. Don't take that the wrong way now, as retard just simply means too slow. As my understanding of things like ham radios is slow. Anyway, you can build a thing with a efficiency of 9,235,000 miles per watt if you just simply transmit at a wattage of something or other. 1/100th of a watt. If you put out 1 milliwatt, well, I'm not going to explain it because I'm not an expert in ham radios. But as a reader of this, I'm that guy who, when you say, hey, did you hear about this new invention? I'm the guy who says, what are the physics behind that? How does it work? And if you don't know how it works, then somebody knows how it works. Now, I know how a radio works, but the point is, I'm the guy who is not impressed unless there is new physics being exploited in whatever invention you find interesting. Oh no, we're getting emails. Is it a reaction to the space weather video? You may never know. Let's talk about a Medical Express article. Study finds that risks for heart attacks, strokes, and deaths around the world could be improved, as most deaths are caused by exposure to risk factors, or at least exacerbated by them. So everything from inflammation to too much time driving on dangerous roads, and not understanding the distinction between your you-know-what and a hole in the ground. Also, metabolic factors, environmental factors, and all sorts of things can improve your health to the point where you live decades longer. So read the article if you weren't already aware, and make small tweaks, such as switching to organic coffee, the most heavily pesticided substance in the world, and improve your outlook, your outlay of costs in terms of things like medical care. Fix one thing, folks. Just fix one thing, and watch the incredible differences that happen when you just fix one little thing in your life. Let's talk about a moron assaulting and kidnapping a couple at the Delaware Water Gap with a pellet gun. Now, he should be happy that he didn't encounter a real concealed carry a real concealed carrier, as he would have assuredly been shot by a real gun, as the concealed carrier would have probably recognized right away that it's a pellet gun. So let's just reflect for a minute if it was a 177 caliber or a 22 caliber. Almost assuredly a 177, right? Don't get in a gunfight with a 177 caliber versus 9mm, or a 308, or a 32, or a 25, or a 22, or a 5.7, or any incredibly deadly thing with an incredibly undeadly thing like a pellet gun. And especially don't get caught by the cops later with an open container and just having absolutely no brain in his head at all. Mulcahy. Some genius called Jeffrey Mulcahy of Passaic County, New Jersey. I don't know if he bought the gun in Pennsylvania. Do they even sell pellet guns in New Jersey? Yeah. He's on felony charges, and he's awaiting to be sent to a federal courthouse to face federal kidnapping charges. Nicely done, Mulcahy. Have a nice day. You are today's dum-dum. And just when you thought you saw the dumbest of dum-dums, how about a possible human trafficker? Now, we don't get to see your face, unfortunately. CNN, shame on you, CNN. Let's close this crap. The Communist News Network reporting that a U.S. woman is being held in the Philippines after airport staff found a baby in her carry-on luggage. Was she importing the baby into the U.S. for some sort of a satanic ritual, a la Alex Jones? Was she transporting the baby for sale? Was she going to eat the baby, possibly in the airport bathroom? Not exactly sure. We'll be interested in the follow-up to this story. Hopefully we'll find one. And thanks, CNN. Anderson Cooper, you look so sexy with that beard. Ooh. And let's go into the realm of global warming. Now, if you want to be really tortured, go to phys.org and click on the Earth section. You'll be able to read 3 articles for every 1 article which mentions global warming or has global warming as the main global warming. With global warming, we are sure that the globe is warming. They're so sure that the globe is warming, that the CO2 is causing the globe to warm, and that it's your fault. And people such as Michael Mann at Penn State University's Climate Science Lab, and postdoctoral scholar Ariel Catalano, and yada, yada, yada. By the end of the 21st century, over 90% of snowtel stations will continue to receive snow. But what? Anyway, what they're stating is that apparently snowfall declines across the Northwest while it increases across the entire Northern Hemisphere 2 years in a row, going on 3. How about 3 years in a row of increased record snowfall in the Northern Hemisphere? We've already had 2. 2017 to 2018, 2018 to 2019. Can we go for 3? I'm not so sure, folks. How is the Earth's temperature measured? Are we measuring the temperature 3 meters deep in the Indian Ocean? No. We're measuring the atmosphere. Yeah, we're measuring the sea surface temperature. Oh, sure, sure. We're very worried about glaciers. We don't even know the temperature of the planet. And people are building these models, spending millions and billions and trillions and quadrillions and zillions and quintillions of dollars to completely waste taxpayer funds, researching a bunch of nonsense and creating a bunch of ridiculous, ridiculous models, suggesting CO2 is the Earth's climate control lever. That was the line of BS we used to hear in the 80s. It turns out that the climate control lever, it must be CO2. Even though none of the observational data shows any correlation between CO2 and temperature. Let's talk about Europe's oldest lake. Apparently, it has to do with measuring the stria in the lake. And what we're looking at here is the way it gets drier in certain spots and wetter at other spots, looking back 1.3 million years. We're not going to get too much into it. There is currently a discrepancy in climate models about how global warming Global warming, which it links to definition to the word global warming, will affect the Mediterranean climate, and in particular, how it will affect winter rainfall. Some models show increased winter precipitation. Other models show it becoming drier. Wow! Well, hey, thanks for the science. And remember to pay your taxes, folks, to fund brilliant, brilliant studies like this. Because recent human climate change has different causes than previous warmings, it is not certain whether it will lead to... Really? Are you kidding me? What a joke. Here's another joke. And where was it found? Oh, on phys.org's Earth section. We read it every day and we try not to have a coronary or a stroke. Early start of 20th century Arctic sea ice decline, as measured in a place at 79.9 degrees north latitude here, north of Svalbard. Yeah, they're measuring algae to extrapolate temperature data for the ocean. I don't know what else to say about it other than ha. Now let's get back into more interesting news. Do you know who bit Beyonce? Well, I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't tell you because I don't remember her name and I really don't care. But I did some extra research on this story. Now this is from 2019, but I won't tell you which month because if you watch videos like ours, you probably weren't aware that Beyonce got bitten in the first place. Now, we certainly don't care if Beyonce is bitten or not. I preferred Beyonce in the Destiny's Child days, as I'm a fan of pop and not crap. But in any case, if you want to read about who bit Beyonce, we've got links to this enlightening Vogue article also below the video. And we're not going to talk about the sunspot butterfly diagram. Oh, geez. What we are going to talk about is the only bonus feature you get, which is the tropical tidbit total accumulated precip model on the GFS. And there you can see the US total accumulated precip map. Don't say we never gave you nothing. Please enjoy reading some of these articles. And please do not have a stroke or heart attack because of reading the articles. Please also click the links in the video to ways to support our channel, as we are holding out a tin cup and creating a real production here, as we do a lot with a little. So thanks again, donors, subscribers, viewers, etc. If you're viewing from a different planet, solar system, plane of existence, or universe, please leave a comment about that. Remember, when you're staring at precipitation totals and predicting the weather correctly, don't drink it if you drink. Predict the weather correctly anyway. Just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, just go to the... See that there's what's going to happen. So bye-bye and enjoy your Wednesday.